Hello, and welcome to TD's Pokemon Lair. I'm TD, and this is the Lair. Today, we're unboxing a box of 10 cards I sent to PSA and got them back in this box, professionally packaged, so they're safe and sound. Let me get them out of the box, and we'll see what grades I got. Alright, let's go! Check out this 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Lieutenant Surge's Eevee, a first edition, the number 51 card of the set. Look in the front of this card. I think the graphics are very clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top. Our centering from left to right, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage there at all. Taking a look at the back of the card, our surface is free of any creases, bends, scratches, or anything like that. I do see a white speck above the Pokeball. I think that's a piece of dust inside the case. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think that's within the tolerance. Centering from top to bottom, looks a little towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage. And that's going to get us the grade of Mint 9. That's pretty darn good. Let's look at this 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Lieutenant Surge's Electrode, a first edition, the number 52 card of the set. The front of this card is very clean, free of any scratches, creases, or bends. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think, is all within the tolerance and looks really nice. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage there at all. They look really nice and clean. As we turn to the back of the card, let's start with our surface. It's very clean, no scratches, creases, or bends. Graphics look really nice. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right, those all look really good. I think those are within tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, if you look at that upper right corner, you'll see that there's some damage on that corner. And that's going to get us a grade of Mint 9. That's pretty good. I like it with that damage on the corner. Let's take a look at this 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Lieutenant Surge's Raticate, a first edition, the number 53 card. Look in the front surface of this card. The graphics are clean and bright. There's no problems on the surface of the card like creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right is a little bit towards the left, I think. Centering from top to bottom, I think, might be slightly towards the top. Looking at the corners and the edges, I do not see any damage. As we take a look at the back of the card, we'll start with our centering. Centering from left to right, I think, might be slightly towards the right, but within the spec. Centering from top to bottom, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at our surface, it is very clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends, and the graphics look awesome. Looking at our corners and our edges, there's some damage on the upper right corner. And we'll get a grade of Mint 9. That's pretty darn good, and I like it. We are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Misty's Dewgong, a first edition, the number 54 card. Looking at the front of this card, the graphics are very vibrant. They're really clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom. On this one, I think all within the tolerances. Looking at the corners and our edges, they're very crisp and clean and free of any damage. Looking at the back of the card, our surface is just like the front, free of any creases, scratches, bends, or any other damage. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think all those are within the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, they're very clean and free of damage. We should get a pretty good grade for this, and let's see. Gym Mint 10. Awesome. That's a great card. We have a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Sabrina's Haunter, a first edition, the number 55 card. Looking at the front of this card, the graphics are nice and bright and clean. I don't see any damage to the surface like creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right, I think, is within the tolerance. Centering from top to bottom, I think, might be slightly towards the top. Looking at the corners and their edges, I do not see any damage, and they look really crisp and clean. Let's turn the card over and look at the back. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top. Centering from left to right, looks within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, they're surprisingly free of any damage. And looking at our surface of the card, it's very clean. No creases, bends, or scratches. It looks really nice. And we're going to get a grade of Mint 9. I think it should have been maybe better. Could have been 10, but maybe not. You're looking at a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Sabrina's Hypno, a first edition, the number 56 card. Looking at the front of this card, it's very nice. I love the graphics. The surface is clean of any creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right, I think is within the tolerance. From centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage that would affect the grade. As we look at the back of the card, our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think is all within the tolerances. They all look really good. Looking at the surface, it is free of any bends, scratches, or creases, or any other damage. Looking at the corners and the edges, our upper left corner has some slight damage. And that's going to get us a grade of mint 9. I'll take it any day of the week. We are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Sabrina's Jynx, a first edition, the number 57 card. Our front graphics are very bright and clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface of this card. Our centering from left to right, I think, is slightly towards the left. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top, but might be within the tolerance. Our corners and our edges are free of any damage that I can find. As we take a look at the back of the card, our centering from left to right is towards the right a little bit. Our centering from top to bottom looks a little bit towards the top. Our surface is free of any creases, bends, scratches, or dirt, or any other damage. Looking at our corners and our edges, the upper right corner has some slight damage. And with that corner damage, we'll get a grade of mint 9. That's pretty darn good with that damage. Check out this 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Sabrina's Kadabra, a first edition, the number 58 card. Looking at the front of this card, the graphics look very awesome. I don't see any damage there. Our surface is free of any creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right is slightly towards the left. Centering from top to bottom looks a little bit towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think they are free of any damage. As we gander at the back of the card, you can see that our centering from left to right is slightly towards the right. Centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top, but possibly within the tolerance. Looking at our surface, it is free of any creases, bends, or scratches. The graphics look nice and clean and awesome. Looking at our corners and our edges, there's some damage on that upper right corner. And we'll receive a grade of mint 9. That's pretty darn good. You're looking at a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Sabrina's Mr. Mime, a first edition, the number 59 card. The graphics here are very vibrant and clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface of this card. Our centering from left to right, I think, is towards the left a little bit. Centering from top to bottom looks really close to the tolerance, maybe a little towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, they are crisp and clean and free of any damage. As we turn to the back of the card, our surface is free of any creases, bends, or scratches. The graphics look very bright and clean. Looking at our centering from left to right, it might be slightly towards the right and out, but I think it's within the tolerance. Our top to bottom centering, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, the upper left corner has some slight damage. And that's going to get us a grade of mint 9. I like it. Let's check out this 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Blaine's Charmander, a first edition, the number 60 card of the set. The graphics are very bright and clean. There's no damage to the surface like creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right is towards right. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is close to being within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, they are nice and clean and free of any damage. Flipping the card over and looking at the back. Let's start flipping the card over and looking at the back of the card. We'll start with our centering. Our centering from left to right is quite a bit towards the left. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at the surface of the card, it is free of any creases, bends, or scratches, or any other damage to the graphics. Looking at our corners and our edges, there's some damage to that upper right corner. And that's going to give us a grade of mint 9. That's not too bad for that old Charmander. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the cards I presented. Please like and subscribe, and always remember, you got to catch them all. Have a great day.